for whatever it is, whether it's sports or music or whatever other discipline it is. If you do it over time, you get better. You learn more. You make mistakes, fall, and then stand up again. And then there's also researching, finding out how the person before you that was into that did it. What did they do wrong, and how did they stand up and find their way again? And then you learn what to do and what not to do. So if I'm to speak from a creative's angle, then you're probably going to go to the place where you can create it. If it's theater, you go to the theater and meet and see how you're going to get your drama together, or probably to studio if it's a musician. And now this is getting the product. Now, when you get that product, you've got to know how to market it. Now we're in a COVID era and going to a post-COVID era. There's going to be later on a balance between physical and virtual. So you've got to, let me say, buy a plot in the virtual world and also be relevant in the physical. Yes, set up a store, but like have a footprint there so that if I search for a one mic Ouma, he's relevant. You're Googleable. So what if someone says there's a certain chap in East Africa, he's doing something magnificent. Oh, what's his name? Okay. So if I find out where he is, what is he doing, what's he done before, there's a portfolio of sorts. There's things that you've done. So even if you're not necessarily loved in Somalia, someone in Brazil could love your music because it's now a global village. So if you put it out there, somebody's going to like it. But if you find the people that like it, because then you're going to do statistics of finding out which continent prefers my music, what kind of music is there, how relevant am I to them. So how do I tap into what they have? Probably there's a language barrier, but I could maybe sync with them in terms of genre. So to cut the long story short, it's finding out where your niche is and who loves what you have to offer. And then you offer it over and over again until you become a household name. And then I can't run away from you. It gets to the point where I'd say, if Solomon can't be at this event, we're going to postpone it because he has to be there. So you've almost become a part of it. Without you, it's not going to work. Yeah.
Wow, this is interesting. I love what you said, that you go into this virtual space, buy a piece of land, and then set up a store there and then market your product. Flavia, I'll tell you as I come to you, there's so many skilled people who go on Facebook to post bana indi kulusania, before meets after, with the whole fish and then bones after, that when you go and look at their timeline, it doesn't reflect their skill set. And I know that people have thought that, social media should be social, but it should also be a platform. I mean, it's a market of over 1 billion people online who are on Twitter every day, who are on Facebook, who go to Instagram. So even what you post about you on your your social media accounts must reflect your skill set, and there must be a deliberate move for you to market yourself that way, even on the socials, so that you don't just put before meets after, Lusania full, and then bones next to it after. But yeah, so I just wanted you to overemphasize how it is important, Flavia, for us to market our skills deliberately, like personal deliberate effort to market our skill set for us to be able to get, people are interested in our work, especially in this global village.
Great. And I know that I'm talking to people out there. It could be skilled in carpentry, they could be interior designers, and they're wondering, how do I actually get this skill out of my, my courtyard to the outside world? And it's very critical to get your product to be known. So I totally agree with social media, using the digital platforms. They are free, they're available, use them. Like you said, make sure that you're selling your product. I've seen many people are selling their products on Instagram, on Twitter, but they're few. Most people don't even know how to use those kind of social media platforms, and they're very important. Most of us are on those platforms. So definitely very important to use the platforms, but also very, very important. I'm one person who totally believes in customer obsession. So as somebody out there, whatever you're doing, whether you're working on those curtains, whether you're working on those chairs, whether you're a tailor, whatever the skill you have chosen, be obsessed about your customers, because as an excited and happy customer will bring you many more customers.
Wow.
And I think that's where we lack, as especially, I don't know, maybe it's purely an issue we find in Uganda, that we actually really struggle to meet our expectations and we disappoint our clients. So customer obsession, if all of us can be obsessed about our customers and purpose to please and excite our customers every single day, live to our commitments, I think for me that's the best advertisement you can have, because I'll bring you more over and over again. So being totally a person of integrity and delivering your commitment all
Flavia,
the time.
I just want you to go back a little bit and say this again, because I think it's deep. Customer obsession. Please say it
Yes.
again.
Customer obsession. Some of us call it customer centric, but obsession is the ultimate. And it's one of the things that we're really driving hard at CCBA Uganda. And I feel, talking to every single person out there, that it is one thing that will get you out there and get you to shine and get you to get referrals. People will call you that you don't expect, just because you did an exceptional job and you did an amazing output for somebody. So every client you have, whether it's one or two, how well are you serving them? That for me is the best advertising, referral. And I've seen that work really well for people who are in carpentry, people who are I have a friend who is into stone, adding beauty to the stones, and I've seen he's not advertising much, but because of the exceptional work he's doing, there are all kinds of customers that are coming to see him because they have seen a house and they said, who did that work? And I think for me, that's the best way to say to yourself. If Ouma has a concert and say, you know what, you have to send this guy, you have to bring him for your function, for your corporate function or wedding, that referral is critical. So don't waste any opportunity in your life. So the issue of social wealth, we talk about financial wealth, but social wealth is for me very critical. Building the right networks, but also being exceptional at your customer service. Don't take customers for granted because they actually have to vote with their money.
Listen, I am really glad I came. I am really glad that I came and I am listening. On Friday last week, I saw a beautiful, set on Instagram. And a Ugandan probably paid. And so, as you're scrolling through, you can see sponsored, and then you look at a beautiful coffee set. And this lady has said, well, we've slashed the figure from 500 to about 390. So I said, well, I love this set. Part of what I do away from journalism is interior designing. Yeah, I just do it out of passion, out of love. So I go into people's homes, disorganize them, and set them up again. So I say, I want this. So I paid half of the money, and the person started working on it. And then they delivered it, and it was a complete different item in terms of the angles where they join to. You would see a real Ugandan product. And I'm sorry to say Ugandan because we have a problem with finishing. So you would see they did not do the finishing properly. The gold coating had started cracking. I'm like, this is just new. So I called her. I'm like, first of all, I'm really disappointed in your product. She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's terrible. It's not worth my money. And I was mad. So because this lady was so much focused on marketing, she didn't even look at the product they gave me. So she looks at it as an opportunity. She has sold, so I have given in the money, and she said the production guys to produce and deliver. She didn't look at the product they were coming to me with. And so she missed what you're talking about, customer obsession, by doing something best. So I call her. She's like, I'm sending someone, you're going to send that thing back. So I sent it back, and she called me. She's like, my goodness, what is this thing that they had given you? I said, yeah, exactly that. It is not what I expected.
It's not for lack of skill.
It's not for lack of
They did
skill.
not lack the skill. They just did not pay attention to actually please their customer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she told me, I am here supervising the remake of this thing. and I am personally going to deliver it to you. So she corrected all the mistakes, like she redid the whole set, and she came in her car and she said, "Sir, here is your set." I'm like, "Now this is what I was looking for." And she's like, "I mind about customer satisfaction," but I'm like, "But you didn't even know what they gave me." And therefore, I was actually not going to refer to you, the next person, to you. So when you were talking about Flavia, when you're talking about customer satisfaction as a tool of marketing and customer obsession, that sank in. And I'm really grateful. I'm learning as much as I can. And I'm really, really happy. Our time is fast spent. I'm sure about we have about 20 minutes to get out of this place. So we will use our 20 minutes to go. Where do we go from here? What can we tell people out there on how, what's our wrap up session like, so that we can encourage people out there who have a skill. I have had, maybe we could also revisit the conversation around our curriculum. And I think we had this conversation before we came on air. The aspect of our curriculum being tailored so much on the theoretical, and all of us growing, knowing that if you leave secondary and you don't go to university and you go and start metal fabrication, that it's bad, you're a failure. That when you go and start doing carpentry, you're actually a failure. That if you go and start learning how to do mechanics and start fixing people's cars, then we are failures. And we've seen that in a way has demoralized so many people, that if your daughter right now say, "Daddy," I'll give you a short story before I can call both of you. There is one of the richest people in this town I know. The daughter came and said, "I want to do tailoring because this is what I love." The father refused. They sent her, she did medicine. After 5 years, she comes back and tells, "Daddy, buy me a sewing machine. This is what I want." The dad said, "I'm going to get you a job in one of the biggest hospitals." She said, "That is not what I want. I want to sew." She looked for money. She bought a sewing machine. She's now occupying the garage. She goes and buys bitenge and fabric. She's now started getting customers. She's actually selling designs. She's sewing, literally. This is a graduate of medicine. And that goes to speak to our mindset. As a country, we've always been thinking that skilling, the skill set that we need to be nurturing and growing, is actually one for a failed community. And I think there needs to be a mindset shift in the way we think about skilling, especially in our education curriculum. Michael.
Wow. This is a very deep topic. So I like to approach it from the angle of sort of like the end justifies the means, in the sense that we're discussing skill and harnessing wealth. And wealth has more components than just financial wealth, because there's financial wealth, social wealth, there's time wealth, and health wealth. Now, all these components, to me, I see them as an end, because we're doing everything in life so we can have what we would term as the best life. You feel like at the end of your life you succeeded. When you ask someone to define what the success is, anyway, for some people it's how well society views them. For some people it's how much money they got over time. For some people it's how well they enjoyed their lives by visiting different places on earth and having a great time. For some people it's because they are maybe very healthy and they feel like I'm probably 60 or 70, but I can still run. I can still enjoy my life. I can still enjoy my mind. So people may see it differently. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say, for me, the end justifies the means. What am I driving to? Um, you probably want to reach a time in life where You've amassed wealth to an extent that you don't necessarily have to work to get money, because then that's riches. When you have wealth, your money is working for you. So to get to that point, you probably worked quite hard in the prime of your life. You've given your all. Now, to give your all, you're either doing something that you're very skilled in or something that you love, and you probably give even extra hours and do it so well that you earn from it quite well. Now, when I come back down, because I'm moving from the end back to the start, in order for you to do that, you have to have trained in that. So what you study is going to lead you to what you're going to work in, what you study, the skills you're getting. So if the skill set we're giving to the children in school is not giving them anything that's relevant in the marketplace, then someone gets into the marketplace and he's starting to study afresh. You've spent about 20 years in formal school, and then you get to the workplace and you're basically starting afresh. You're learning how to work with others. You're learning that how that skill is actually meant to be relevant in the marketplace, but all you were taught about is bukuku, the gatekeeper. And you're asking yourself how bukuku is relevant in whatever else you're going to do in life. You get so there's these could be nice stories that were told and so on that were probably relevant in the 80s or 60s or I don't know when. But the world is leaving us behind if we maintain the curriculum that is just theoretical, and also if it's based on what people used and was relevant then, because this is becoming it's evolving every time. Every time there's a new development or a new discovery, that has to be updated in the curriculum, so that by now children are learning things from a tender age that are going to help them learn how to network, learn how to work as a team, learn what's relevant now, learn the actual current affairs, because you'll find people studying current affairs and they're still studying about current affairs that was current to us. That's history. So it could just be added to the history paper. You get. So my point is, at the end of the day, we're all looking for a point in life where we're wealthy, both in terms of time. I have enough money, I can just chill. My money can make money. I'm wealthy in terms of finance. I've amassed enough capital and assets. I'm wealthy in terms of health, whereby I have enough time to go to the gym. I can stroll. I can maybe play soccer. I can do anything, because I've reached that point in life where I feel successful in terms of wealth. But to achieve that, I must have worked in something that helped me amass all these things. Therefore, I didn't waste a lot of time studying what's irrelevant and then restudying in the marketplace. So let's spend time in the first 20 years of life, or first 16, or whatever they are, studying what's relevant, so that it takes a shorter time for somebody to get to a certain midlife point where they've made relevant decisions and they can now start working on their path to wealth. Yeah, that's my point. That's my approach.
That's deep. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Okay, the question as to whether we should let our children do what they want to do or first get us a degree and go and pursue their dreams. Anyhow, I personally believe that you can only be your very best when you're truly, truly pursuing your passion. And I think we have no right as parents to determine the passions of our children. Our work is to understand our children, understand their passion points, and be able to help them navigate life. I think part of the poem we had is, I did not just grow up hearing I need to be an engineer because my father is an engineer, and engineers are cool, they are scientists, but I also grew up knowing that failure is a taboo. How do you fail? That's why for us, even when you had an 85, you were beaten because possibly you've declined by 1 point, in school. That's the kind of school we grew up, we were raised in. So I think for me, we actually have learned better that it's okay to fail. And we need to let our children know that it's actually okay to fail. What is important is, what do you learn? from that moment of failure? How do you learn to fail forward? And these are things we've learned much later in life. That actually that moment of failure could be the biggest lesson in life for you to become a better person, to become the best you, or to become, the best that you can possibly be. So I think for me, allowing our children to discover, supporting them to, sometimes they may be, one day they're passionate about one thing, tomorrow they're telling you, oh, now I want to be this. Because there's that phase in life where it's not very clear, but just patiently walking the journey with them and supporting them and letting them know that whatever they choose to do, you you support them. And I think for me, that's really the role of us as parents. And we are learning on the job. We are learning to take away the historical mindsets that we've always known and realize, no, we're in a different world. By the way, some of the so-called skills that are the right skills, or we would say most paying skills, it didn't exist at the time. We don't even know them. I don't think the children of tomorrow are going to be doing what we're doing today. There are totally new skills coming up in this whole digital era, in whole revolution. There's just so much. I didn't know all those investigative journalism. I don't know what. So there's just too much going on. And I think for me, the future is unfolding with even more skills. I was reading an article on what are some of the skills of the leader that is needed for tomorrow. And I was thinking, wow, you've come from a place where sometimes the best leaders were leaders who are leading through authority. Boss Agambi, boss has said, but I think, the best leader today is the leader who can lead through influence. So then how do you learn how to influence your people to deliver and over deliver your results, not boss them around? So I think for me, just understanding the dynamics and letting people go with the flow, because things are changing and changing really fast. So we just need to support these kids.
Probably what I forgot to explain through the journey I was speaking about. When I meant the end justifies the means, I I forgot to explain the situation of errors. In the eras of our grandfathers or great grandfathers, it was a question of how big his land is and how big the farm is and how well you can be a farmer, and that's it. Because there's nothing else going on. It's hand to mouth, and that's it. So you have so many children, more labor, etc. And then there comes the next generation where they were learning the blue collar jobs, how to be support to the white collar jobs where they mostly taken by the whites and people that were there before. And then there's also getting into the white collar jobs. And then if each era has its own dynamics. And then now we're in a digital era. And there's many other types of skill sets that can be paying. So the point is, if you're locked into one mindset and you're only thinking about how it worked in 1930, then ri- right now you'd think, if my son didn't do this, they won't succeed. It's because that's all you know, and you're not evolving with the time. So yes, I won't blame you for the fact that you want your son to succeed, but there's many other paths. At the end,
Skill and letting them choose what they want to be. I think for me, what is critical as a parent, just help them to have the right values. Because the issue of value for me is very important. It's the values that will take them to their destination, whatever the destination will be. Just support them in nurturing the right values. Whatever else they choose to do, this will be their foundation. And that should really be my role as a parent. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. And let me wrap it up with a story. So I'm a journalist, so I always tell stories. I was in Arusha 2 weeks back. I was moderating the annual East African Youth Summit, which is the ULEAD Summit. So off the side chat, we went and had dinner, and one of the friends brought a 16-year-old over dinner and said, "You know what? I brought this young man to meet all of you," because it was me, Joy, Doreen, Bira, and other people in the room, to just share his story. I was like, "Go ahead, young man." The man said, "I don't want to go to university." First of all, that shocked me. And he's like, I have a passion to do bioengineering. Already I've come up with a prototype to do an incubator, baby incubators. So my father wants me to go to university, but I want to go to this school that does engineering, practical engineering and solutions. And Tanzania has a center of excellence where they are nurturing, this. So he said, I don't want to waste my time at university. Very brilliant young man. I just want to be enrolled into the Tanzania Institute of Engineering and start working with my prototype, and I grow it better and better and better. My dad says I need a degree first, then I can go to the engineering school. And I am stressed. I don't know what to tell my father. So I remember looking at this young man with the passion and zeal in his eyes, and him saying, I just want to go and develop this thing. And, I want to finish it and develop. I love developing. I want to do this thing. He was all out there for that. But the dad says, first go and do a degree, then come back. Now, along the way, when you're doing your whole degree, I don't know what can happen during that time. But part of me then started thinking, how about we support this child in the direction that he is in and let him grow into that? I think that's what developed countries are doing. China, the US, you find Chinese children, they're doing microchips, they're doing prototypes of these robots. They're into robotics, they're into this and that, and they're supporting them in that very skill set to grow it and nurture it better. So do we need a mindset change in our curriculum? My thinking is yes, especially with what Michael has said, that the times are changing. The times are changing and we need to move with the times. And we need, as parents, like Flavia was saying, support them to grow their skill set, and as well teach them values. I'm a father of 4. So I have this firstborn girl. The other day I was sitting with my wife and was saying, what do we do with this girl? She loves singing and dancing. So all you see her after doing her classes in the morning, she's out there training in moves. Move 1, 2, 3. Then she breaks. Then she goes forward, backwards. Even when they're not there. And she likes singing. She's just holding a bottle and trying to sing and getting the voice. So I said, what do we do? Because the mother wants her to be a captain. So like, study hard. You're going to be a flight captain one day. This girl is actually holding microphones, moving steps and teaching the brothers, 2 steps forward, 2 steps backwards. And like, okay, is she going to be a dancing captain or something? Can we find that middle ground? Over to you, Apollo.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Solomon. We are winding up, and Solomon, I just want to invite you to take up your panel in having their closing remarks. Then I have homework. Remember, I'm the headmaster here, so homework. Changing my curriculum is not an option here, but homework for the Solomon. Just
I actually thought that we had wrapped up, but I'll give each of us a minute to wrap it up. Again, since the headmaster has given us an extra minute, I'll start with you, Flavia. What's your, what's your conclusion for this conversation?
Okay, I guess I will tell a story, but I'll be brief. So somebody very close to me asked me, so you're going to talk to at an NSSF webinar. It's about wealth creation. You're an employee. We think people who are in creating real wealth, are doing business and stuff. I told them, first listen. NSSF has been giving us double-digit interest for the last over 10 years. Okay. When I started working, I was earning very little money. Over the years, my contribution to NSSF has grown. And guess what? Before they even give me interest, my company is doubling my contribution. Isn't that wealth creation? So when I broke it down, I said, oh, wait a minute, it's actually true. So as an employee, just by doing your job and growing in your career, you're creating your wealth because you have experts like NSSF and many others that are actually growing your money. So for you who is out there and you're still employed and wondering, am I a businesswoman? Am I in the boardroom? Will I actually really create wealth? That's just one of the obvious avenues. This year they gave us 12 point, is it 7 or yeah, over 12%. I've never forgotten 2018, which has been the highest for us. So for me, every year I'm tracking, how is my money doing with NSSF? So if you're employed, you actually are creating wealth. That's just one of the channels that you're actually creating your wealth. So thank you so much. I want to encourage all of you out there to just have the right disciplines and do the right thing. Money will follow you. Thank you.
Flavia Nabasa, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Flavia. Michael Ouma.
I'll go back to the verse that I always use whenever I'm asked to have some closing remarks about something. Whatever you put your hands to, do it well. Do it well. Do it exceptionally well. Like Flavia said, that's your best marketing tool. If I do something great, Flavia, Apple, and Solomon say, without Michael Ouma, this is not going to happen. If you say it to one, she says it to another him, that's 6 people. And then 12, and then 24, and the story keeps going. So if you do something to the best of your ability, you're going to get there.
May I just interrupt? We said a verse, I actually cracked at a verse that really makes my day when it comes to wealth. It's in Proverbs, my best book when I'm reading with the boys, 24, that says, a little slumber, a little sleep, and the folding of hands to rest, and poverty knocks at your door like a thief. That verse for me just shows the true essence of hard work and diligence towards wealth creation. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Can
Solomon.
I wrap it up? Head
Please,
teacher,
please,
before-
please.
Head
I also
master.
wanted to interrupt. You see, the way you interrupted at UBC, breaking news. I thought this was my moment. I'm also making it into breaking news. But Solomon, over to you,
Yeah.
Solomon.
No, I think that for me, wrapping up both what Flavia and Michael are saying is you need to put your skill out there for people to see. You have an opportunity, use it. Don't sing in the bathroom because you'll be your own audience and your own fan. When you get the opportunity, sing to the world and make sure you please that audience, and then tell the world that you pleased that audience. I agree with what Flavia is saying, that when you do your job well, you do it perfect, it will lead you to the next customer. But it's just okay for you to make noise about your success. So when you go out there and sing to the world and the whole crowd is cheering you up, share that success and let the whole world know that you did well. Thank you.
Do not apologize for success. Never apologize for your success. When you're moving around there and you're exceptional, say it. I'm exceptional. Don't mind people will say that one's just being proud. No, but you are exceptional. You have no alternative. You need to never apologize for your success. Today we have learned that a mother of boys is telling us about wealth. Solomon, my team thinks you are a lastborn. Are you a lastborn?
I am actually first.
But we have one thing we have learned is you are Judge's boy.
Grandma's boy.
Yes. And the pastor's son that cracks out the entire world. So we have learned this today, and I'm grateful that we are here. One thing that I pick up here, and I tell people that if you are failing at your employment, don't even venture out in business. Because at employment, you have given and you have a supervisor, you even have someone to look up for your welfare, to pay you. There's someone paying you. There's an advocate in legal looking at your human rights, and they're not violated. There is occupational health, all those things. And with all those, and you're not delivering at your workplace, don't think you will become wealthy when you go to a place where you're unsupervised, where you are the board of directors, where you are your own occupational health, something, you are your own legal, you are your own everything. If you are not delivering at your workplace, please don't try. Continue robbing your employer, continue stealing from them, not delivering and them paying you. Do not go out there. It becomes very, very bad. Thank you so much this evening for gracing us with this. It's been a light, I can say, light and candid discussion. We expected, someone was saying Michael Ouma will fall from the ceiling. Then power, they call you power lady. Power lady will come in and with all her pointers and everything. Then there's Solomon Serwanja. There was that whole energy, but you have taken us in a different dimension and you have brought out deep, deep understanding of different things. I am proud to be associated with that. I am the headmaster here, and I am everything that they do. It's my training, people. It's my training. It's my training. Thank you so much for listening to us. As NSSF, would love to have your feedback. The feedback link is in there. We have quite a number of programs going on. Before we wrap up there, we want to reach out to most of you. We are going to be having business clinics running. We have on Thursday, on Friday, this Friday, yes, we are talking about, not talking, we want those interested, about 20 people. We shall have a date with the Administrator General. We're talking about legacy trip planning, and we're talking about wills. Yes, we're talking about wills with the Administrator General. He wants 20 people every Friday, and he takes them through how to make a will. Michael, you need to make a will. Solomon, you need to make a will. Flavia, you need to make a will. Before we go out, my homework. What's your book? What book do you recommend for our audience, and why? I'll start with Flavia.
I could easily recommend what I'm reading right now, How Remarkable Women Lead, but given the audience's mouth, I would say start with a why.
Start with a why. By
Sinach.
It's by Sinach.
Sinach,
Start with a why. One of these
Start with
days
a
we
why.
shall start a book club, and we shall be reviewing some of these books that the panelists share with us to help all those that read by proxy. Solomon.
I'm currently reading The Mastery. Yeah. Have you read it? Yeah. The Mastery. It's an amazing book, and specifically, I think you may want to pay attention to chapter 3. But it's an amazing book. Yeah. So that's what I'm reading. I have a guy who is teaching me to read. Before I never used to want to read a lot. I think now that I'm next to Raymond Mojuni, who reads literally every 5 a.m. So he tells me, set up an alarm at 5 a.m., wake up and read at least a chapter or two. And I'm learning to read. I'm not good at it, like maybe Flavia, but yeah, I'll get there.
Thank you. And Michael?
Well, I liked Rich Dad Poor Dad for the concept of teaching about a legacy and how it's similar to the parable of the talents in the Bible, where you have 1 talent, 2 talents, and then you just bury your talent and don't do anything with it. And the situation is you could sit on it or you could trade it and get more from it. So there's that within it. But I don't know what one's religion is, but I would still say the favorite book would be the Bible. Why? There's so many things to learn from there. There's so many stories. Sometimes the stories that they kept teaching us in Sunday school, and you reach a certain point in life, you're like, oh, so this story of Moses taking the children of Israel from the promise from Egypt through the wilderness to the promised land probably means more than just a voyage. There's sometimes in your life where you're so comfortable in your Egypt and there's so many things around, but you need to go through a certain wilderness and the world beats you and Pano beats you into your promised land. So yeah, that's just one of the stories in it, but there's many like that. So yeah, I recommend that.
I need you to hone your skills on being a pastor. You may be missing out on that. Thank you so much. There is a way I don't want to end this. I feel like I need to continue this, but we need to go. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much, Mr. Serwanja, Solomon, and thank you so much, Flavia.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, we have had Renzori Walker on Flavia.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's a
Marketing
sales
my
director,
brand.
and that's what she does. We never have water here, but we've had it on her. Thank you so much. You can see what skills she has. From my side, thank you so much. I saw one comment here. I'll just Peter Ndugu has offered that you guys with skills and you need to articulate them on your CV. Please, he has put there a link, a website. Just go to him. I think it's Awesome Investments, and he will help you out and give you CVs or templates that you can use so that you can let your skill be known. Someone is also talking about mindset, that they crowns out all this with mindset, mindset, mindset. Yes, I don't want to add to that mindset. Another one is saying design Django. Hope NSSF gives you a chance. Then you prove to us that you are honing your skill. Yes, we are going to give them another chance. They have had a quite a bitter pioneer event, but as NSSF, we shall give them a chance, and they will have to prove themselves. Thank you so much, everyone that is listening in, and thank you so much for everyone that puts in the time, puts in the energy. Thank you, my back office team. I usually ask them, what book are you reading? And they are reading, most times they are reading either a notice board or a billboard. But thank you so much for everyone that is listening to us. And until we catch you next time, thank you. Have a great, great evening.